Hey, howdy, hey, how is everybody doing? And welcome back to Disney Daily. In 2008, Pixar arguably produced one of its most impressive movies, WALLE. It not only was entertaining, but sent a bigger message to audiences in terms of our health and the way we treat the earth. In the film, we are introduced to WALLE, who is a determined, curious, and lovable robot who has an excellent taste in show tunes and an impressive collection of objects that he has collected over the years. He spends the majority of his life alone, or so it seems, and I couldn't help but wonder, why was WALLE the only robot that seemed to not only be fully functioning, but also showed a certain intellect? Well, in today's video, we try to answer those questions. Now, before I really dive into why WALLE was the last one standing, I need to explain how he was the last robot standing. You see, most WALLEs were single-minded and lacked a self-awareness. In fact, director Andrew Stanton points out that these robots weren't self-sufficient, but rather they were programmed and managed by human teams that were part of Operation Cleanup, which was a gigantic effort backed by the corporation by and large to try and cleanse the planet so that humans could once again live there. However, in order to do this, the WALLEs were to be sent out all over the world to gather trash and build skyscrapers from that trash, like we see in the movie. The garbage building would then be basically taken away and set on fire. However, despite the efforts made by and large and the WALLEs, the burning trash caused a rise in toxicity levels, which made the planet even more unsustainable and uninhabitable. Now, the humans managing the cleanup effort left in such a hurry that the robots were not actually deactivated, including our lead protagonists. So all of the WALLEs continued to clean until they eventually suffered damage, injury, or broke down, turning off indefinitely. 700 years went by and all were gone except for one, the WALLE we know and love. And this is where I get into the question, why was he the last one standing? After all, he was a robot just like the rest. Now, some fans have argued that it was just sheer luck. However, I think it was more than luck. To me, it just doesn't make sense that only one robot would continue to operate for over 700 years. So what made WALLE different? What kept him functioning all this time? Well, I believe it has to do with some sort of glitch in his programming, which allowed him to function and operate at a higher standard than the rest. To put it more simply, he developed a capacity that allowed him to feel, perceive, and experience the world around him. This sense of self and a knowledge about the planet he lived on allowed him to navigate the hardships that the WALLEs were faced with on Earth after being abandoned. He was constantly acquiring more knowledge while the others were unable to adapt. Without a doubt, WALLE developed a survival instinct, which was a huge contributing factor to his lengthy lifespan. In the comic book entitled Working to Dig You Out, I discovered that WALLE demonstrated a willingness to basically cannibalize his fellow robots, or to put it nicely, disassemble. WALLE would take parts that he needed to replace on his own self from the other broken down bots around him. This is actually demonstrated in the movie when WALLE needs a new set of wheels and takes it from a nearby WALLE unit like himself. I also think it was WALLE's personality that contributed to his survival. His lightheartedness and humor kept his outlook on life optimistic. This also being demonstrated in the comic that I just mentioned. WALLE was shown as a jokester, running around putting cones on his head, while his fellow bots were unamused and continued to work. Well, that concludes this episode of Disney Daily. My question for you all is, who is your favorite character from WALLE? As always, thanks for being my guest here at Disney Daily. Until next time.